Hi, I'm Lucy Santoro, guest host on Living 365 TV today. It's time to stop waiting and start living 365.
Hi, I'm Mirayan, guest host on Living 365 TV today. It's time to stop waiting and start living 365. Hi, I'm Priya Ali, host of Living 365 TV. It's time to stop waiting and start living 365. Welcome to Living 365 TV. I'm your host, Priya Ali. This show is designed to bring you real people, real experts, real tools to help you stop waiting and start living 365. I'm really excited about all my shows, but once again, I have another great show for you today. We're talking about how to heal your body. But before we do, I want to let you know we've got some exciting news. We are going to be at the Oakville's largest holistic wellness expo on Saturday, November the 21st from 10 to 5 p.m. Now, this is an amazing event that's taking place at St. Joseph's Ukrainian Catholic Church. You'll see all the details here on the screen. What's going to happen there is there's over 85 practitioners. You pay one price, which is, I think, it's $25 to get in. And you'll get 50 minutes of free services from over 85 practitioners. It's going to be an amazing day, and we have the pleasure and honor of covering this event. So tune in, stay tuned for the details, and join us on the 21st. Joining me today for Heal Your Body, because we all have a body that could use some healing, whether it's a simple cold or some chronic disease that you're suffering from, I want to help you raise your awareness on how to heal your own body. And I brought in two fabulous ladies to help me do that. Joining us today is Lucy Santoro, co-owner of Craw Company. She's a Reiki master, advanced angel guidance, and healing practitioner. Welcome, Lucy.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here, Priya.
So glad to have you. We also have joining us Dr. Amira Ayad, natural health consultant and functional nutrition expert. Welcome, Amira.
Thank you.
Now, ladies, thank you so much for joining us. As you know, I know for myself, it's been quite some time that I got into natural healing. In fact, I remember being about 14 years old, visiting an uncle of mine in Alberta, and he actually worked as a pharmacy dispensing. Well, you would know what we call it, dispensing prescriptions.
Pharmacist.
Yeah, so he's a pharmacist, but at the same time, he had this book on reflexology, and I became so fascinated at the age, I think I was like 12 or 13, about using reflexology and how it corresponded with the different parts of our bodies, and you could actually do this by pressing points on your hands or pressing points on your feet and actually promote healing naturally in your body. And over the years, I've just constantly been more and more interested in how to heal my body naturally, from things like a simple headache that I've suffered from to endometriosis and other conditions that I've had that are a little more serious. Have you had something as well that, you've worked on healing in your own body?
Go ahead.
Like maybe even just a headache or things like that?
Yeah, I started. I started as a pharmacist. I turned to natural healing 10 years ago because pharmacy didn't have lots of answers that I was looking for. My son was always ill. I was working by the book. Everything, every antibiotic, every vaccine, everything he had, but he was always sick. And once I studied nutrition, natural health, I stopped everything, and he became the healthiest boy ever. So,
what were some of the things that you implemented into his care and in changing in his diet and things like that?
Basically, healthy diet, fresh fruits and vegetable. Just read the label, stops any things that have additive preservative, colors, lots of sugars, and things like that. Natural things are just the way they are created, have all the healing powers that we need.
Yeah, that's quite a concept, isn't it? That things that come out naturally are good for us.
Yeah.
They don't need enhancing. So many things that we have these days, people don't really know what the taste of natural food is like anymore, because things are so chemically enhanced or filled with preservatives. Have you experienced the same thing?
I have, and I find it so interesting that we're going back in time, that, back to tradition, back to grassroots of what we used to heal our bodies when there wasn't Tylenol or antibiotics or all of these prescriptions that are out. We're returning to whole foods and teas and herbs and just natural remedies.
Yes, because our bodies are natural,
Yeah.
right? And so it seems like it would make sense. One of the things that I've learned over the years is that, prescription drugs and prescription medicine are chemicals. And so they chemically alter the state of our body. Oftentimes, some of the things, like say, you could speak to this a little bit more, but something like Tylenol, it actually disconnects you from the pain sensor that makes your head hurt in a way. Is that true?
Yes, actually, you just shoot the messenger. You don't get
Yeah.
the message, but the problem is still there.
And that's one of the things I really want to impress upon the viewers today, is that within your body, what a lot of us are doing through traditional medicine is that we're disconnecting from what our body's trying to tell us. And so you might get a little tick tick and through a headache, and then you ignore that. And then it knocks a little harder, and you're starting to feel some body aches, and you ignore that. And then finally you get a bam, bam, bam. Hello, you've got cancer. Hello, you've got diabetes. So it's to really impress upon people that by disconnecting from the symptoms and the pain, we're actually ignoring what the natural signs our body's trying to give to us.
Yeah.
Yeah?
This is basically the name of my book, Body Whispers.
The body. So that's what you're talking about.
Yes. Just heed these little warnings that the body is sending you before they turn into screams.
Yeah, before they turn to screams. That's a really important point. And have you noticed that in your own life as well? Have you ever ignored a sign?
Oh, definitely. I'm actually I'm a breast cancer survivor.
Oh, wow.
Or
Congratulations.
graduate. Thank you.
Yes.
And to me, that was a huge body scream. What was it about my life, about what I was eating or doing in terms of my lifestyle, my job, that I was ignoring?
Yeah.
And so natural foods came into play, and holistic healing and Reiki really played a role in my healing through cancer, through the treatments. Even though I chose Western medicine through treatments and chemotherapy, I supplemented that with what I believed was the core of my healing.
Yeah. And that's something that I want to stress, is that we're not telling anybody, not to seek medical attention or not to follow traditional Western medicine, but either to complement or to start to be proactive through natural and holistic methods as well, to raise your own awareness of what else is out there for you and what else can help you. Now, you're a Reiki practitioner, right, as a master, Reiki master right now.
Yes.
Were you involved in Reiki prior to breast cancer? Or is that something that you got involved in after your diagnosis?
No, I was involved in it before, probably 2 or 3 years prior to my diagnosis. And so I was just developing that as a practice and on myself, but I enhanced it during my treatments for myself. It was a way for me to empower whatever chemicals I was taking to work even better and make sure that my body could handle it on a spiritual level, on a physical level. So Reiki kind of was the boost.
Was the boost, yeah. That helped you through your healing.
Right.
Yeah. And how so? Like, how would you feel after you would have the Reiki treatments? Like, just physically, what did you notice any physical change? Did you notice any difference after, say, a chemo treatment versus a Reiki treatment?
I think you go through such a myriad of emotions when you're diagnosed and when you're going through treatment. So Reiki helped ease my anger and find calmness in whatever higher level lesson the cancer was supposed to teach me. So it gave me an open mind. So it really I could separate myself from, the chemotherapy had its purpose and served towards my healing, and then the Reiki just opened that other side of healing, the emotional healing, the mental healing that chemotherapy or radiation couldn't do.
Yeah. So you did emotional. You went through emotional healing and mental healing as well through the Reiki treatments. Are you able to share some of the things that came up for you during that process on the emotional level and the mental level? And the reason I ask is that a lot of times, from where I practice in energy medicine, is there are often times where I can see disharmony energetically in people's bodies. And for me, just to share what it's like for me, is I see it. They look like magnetic filings, so they almost look like the energy looks a little bit black to me in different areas of the body. And at that point in time, when I see it that way, there's usually enough time for the client to be able to do some healing on the mental, emotional, and physical level so that it doesn't impede and permeate through to the physical layer of the body. Because that's how it's sort of shown to me, is that we sort of start with illness on the metaphysical, emotional level of things. And if it's left unattended to, it starts to get worse and worse, like the little taps that we say. And next thing you know, it's hit your body's layer of your being. And so I'm wondering for you, if you, as you were going through that, did you gain awareness as to maybe some of the things that led you into the dis-ease in your body?
Yeah, I think it peels away the layers, right? And that's what Reiki does, kind of takes away. So, I dealt with my anger, and I could get to the root. What was my anger really about? Was it about, the friendships that dissipated or that were lost? Or was it about, having to rearrange my life and almost start over? Or was the anger about that I hadn't listened to my body? And this was like the ultimate scream, as you say. So I really was able to peel those layers and deal with that. And then from a food perspective, chemotherapy does really weird things to your body and your taste buds, and it allowed me to get away from some of the things that I was eating, habits that I had put myself into, and I continue to heal from that. So was it the chemotherapy, or was it the Reiki that kind of opened that portal for me to discover a new way of eating and living and being, and finding my truth in that? So I think having that experience with breast cancer was a lesson in, for me, love, self-love, nurturing, and I mean, it's tied into that, it's breast cancer, and so it's part of my body, part of close to my heart. And so what was I lacking, or what wasn't I nurturing in a more positive light, that I needed for myself? And so Reiki allowed me to open that and figure that out.
Yeah, and I noticed too, cancer itself is rampant these days, but particularly my awareness, because I've got some family members afflicted by it as well, breast cancer just seems to be on the rise. And I find that from a holistic and a metaphysical perspective, as you say, our breasts cover our heart. And they're a sign of our femininity and our feminine energy. And when we're out of balance with that, I feel that it tends to be one of the areas that we actually do start to change the energy. There's a bit of toxicity that comes around in that area. And, especially with the heart, because we tend to be very stingy with the self-nurturing as women. Have you found that as well?
Yeah, I see a common denominator in many of breast cancer women that I see is lack of self-nurturing. They are giving, and they don't allow themselves to nurture themselves, or don't allow this self-love and self-care.
Yeah. And it's not to say, because I don't want to confuse anybody, that I'm saying, we get sick or we want to be sick. It's not like that at all. It's what happens though is sometimes there are illnesses that we manifest. They can serve us in other ways. So I notice for myself personally, I have adrenal burnout, which that's the only excuse that I will give myself for being able to rest. I can remember back to being pregnant, I think it was with my third or fourth child, and every day in the afternoon I would get a debilitating headache that I could not function, and I would have to go to bed, shut the doors, the lights out, and I would sleep for 2 hours and then I'd be okay. And one day I realized that I was just simply tired, and that I maybe didn't need the headache, and if I would just take the nap, I wouldn't have to have this. But as a woman trying to function with 3 kids, like, I can't nap. I'm Superwoman. Superwoman does not nap. She does not need nap. She does not need rest. She does not need food. She does not need time for herself. So my body said, hey, listen, sister, here's how this is going to go down. We're going to knock you out with a headache so bad that you will have no choice but to get the rest that you need.
Right.
And once I made that connection, it changed for me. I was having a lovely nap. I was much more pleasant. I wasn't fighting. I wasn't resisting. And the headache stopped. So again, do you notice that with people?
Yes, I always see that there is an emotional or spiritual root of illness. There's always something that related to how we think, how we perceive our world, how we process every challenge and every stress. We all have stresses and challenges, but how we process it, how we deal it with